Welcome to myprojectbazaar.com.
This is our project title for the DiploCloud, efficient and scalable management of RDF data in the cloud. Okay, this is our abstract. So the data mining with the multiple attribute based load data set and to do the pre-processed data. So here the processing large amounts of RDF data in the cloud is still very challenging in spite of its seemingly simple data model. RDF actually encodes rich and complex graphs mixing both instance and schema level data, sharding such data using classical techniques or partitioning the graph using traditional minimum cut algorithms leads to very inefficient distributed operations and to a high number of joins. So here in this paper over here we describe DiploCloud methods and efficient and scalable distributed RDF data. The RDF means a resource description framework. This is the RDF data to be processing for the RDF data management system for the cloud. And this is the flow diagram for the DiploCloud efficient and scalable management of RDF data. Okay, so the first one is the data set. Load the data set. Here multiple attributes or certain attributes using create the large amounts of large data sets. Here the file chooser using choosing particular records or the data set records will be loaded. So here the data set will be loaded into the other form. So here the next one is the pre-process. The pre-process with RDF data will be checking into the pre-process. So here next we come to three times two modules or two classifications as the RDF data. RDF means resource description framework. It has two categories. The one is the master node and the other one is the worker node. The master node with processing data has three strategies or three components. The one is the key index. The key index means taking some or using some key values for based on the our data. Here we will using the student details. Student details based we will processing our project. So here I am using student ID is assigned as key index. Next one is the partition data. Partition means clustering. So here the key index is assigned student ID. So again the student details will be partitioned and finally will partition the data will be executed based on some queries is query execution. The other node is worker node. The worker node with processing data as clustering. Clustering means separate some data to be processing. It finally is come to the load balance. The load balance is again processing these two nodes. Two nodes will be processing load balance. The two data will be verified to checking for the data. So here the data will be is based on checking or based on some attributes based validating it's true or false. The data is true or it's correct, then only go for client. The client is access the data. Again the data is false is come to the fault tolerance. The fault tolerance is removing the redundance or removing the proof or removing the problems. So after the removing problems the data is come to the RDF. Again we will come to the starting process as master node, worker node. So come to the processing data. Okay, this is our coding part for the DiploCloud efficient and scalable management of RDF data in the cloud. This is our home page. When I click home, let's go for next page. So the next one is the user details. So just I enter the username. These are some fields: personal, curricular, score, fees. These are some student based details. Here I am processing data as student data based our process is going on. So first I will click to the curricular. So please first load data. So I click to the please load data set. So to load data, so which button I click, the first it enter the data set will be loaded. So again personal. So the process is starting. So this is our first process. So file chooser using choosing particular records, or record means data set. So here this is our data set, deploy data set. Okay, so here the data set will be choosing. So again load the data set, the data set will be loaded. So next one is the pre-process. Here the data set will be any null values or any values with missing values is to be removed. So here this is the pre-process. So the pre-process complete, here no null values. Okay, pre-process is uploaded into the successfully, the data is stored into database. So come to the next. So here again file chooser using choosing another records. This is the metadata information. This is the metadata information. So the data.txt. Okay, so this is the metadata information. Here we using two student activities. The one is the student curricular activities, the other one is the student personal details, or curriculum details and personal details. So those details using to be processed our data. Here the student personal details will be stored. Okay, so come to the next. So this is the metadata informations. So come to the next. So this is the master node. So the here we will two processing nodes. So one is a master node and the one is worker node. The master node with three components: the key index, the partition data, and the query execution. So here the key index. Here I am using student details. So student ID is always taking to the key. So the other one is the partition. The data partition means is clustering. So here no records. So when I click to the cluster, the data will be come to them. So CS. For example, I am click to the CS cluster. So here the course computer science records will be displayed. So when I click to the max cluster, the BSc max records will be stored into the database BSc max. So max records will be stored. So when I click to the item load, the record uploaded successfully for the max data. So these are some details. So I come to the cluster. So here using two data sets. The data set one is the student curricular details, the data set two with student personal details. So those details using I am processing data. So the data set one taking to the student ID, data set 2 to taking for the student name. So here the student ID and the name are based comparisons our data. These both columns under these both datas are same in the data sets. Here the results are classified. Okay, so here this is the fees and the results area details. So when I click to the fees, so here the fees records will be stored into the details. So when I click to the results, the result data is stored into the display. So here the results are passed, which students are passed, the passed student details are displayed. So next come to the arrear. So when I click to the arrear, these three students are failed. So here the data will be processed and to be stored on some particular databases. Okay, so here the data will be comparison for those data items or data sets. So here the first one with comparison on the student ID and the student name. The next data with compare the student courses and the student score or percentages. The again the table as taking skills as the fees paid. Okay, so here the results are classified. Okay, this is our graph diagram for the DiploCloud. So here the DiploCloud data as a bar chart is processed. Here the performance analysis of DipCloud. Here the student details based, we will processing our existing details and the proposed details. Here the some student details are increasing for the proposed. So here we will using the different methodologies and the different tools using processing our student details as increasing the performance analysis of DiploClouds. Okay, the code is finished. Thanks for listening.